What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Talking Halos. I'm your host today, Jared Timms, and I'm joined alongside my co-host, my partner in crime, Nate Green. Nate, I almost got those words mixed up a little bit. It's been a hot
It's
second.
been a while, yeah. It's good to be back, good to see you, and ready to kick off this off season.
I didn't want to talk Angels baseball. You didn't want to talk Angels baseball. You guys, listeners, I know didn't want to listen to Angels baseball. So took a little bit of time off. Figured we'd also give you a little bit of a plan for the off season. At least the itinerary for now is once a week until the playoffs is over because playoff baseball is more fun than watching as beautiful as we are, at least me. I don't know. Nate's not that beautiful, I don't think. Um,
Right.
as beautiful as we are, I'm just throwing shade at you left and right, man. As much as you guys want to watch us, I think watching playoff baseball is a little bit more fun. We will come on once a week unless there is breaking news or something along the lines of that. After the playoffs are over, we'll go twice a week. Hopefully, get maybe a couple interviews in here and there. We'll see kind of how that side of stuff goes. And yeah, again, if any breaking news happens, we'll get a podcast out there for you guys up until spring training, and then we're back at it again, and hopefully we get a little bit of a better season. But yeah, just again, thank you all for watching and listening, sticking in there with Talking Halos. I feel like that we are now in. I joined in 2019 doing this, so man, we are crushing it. Year six, year five. I don't even know what we're at, but it's a lot of fun, and I appreciate you guys watching us and listening to us here at Talking Halos. Go ahead if you don't already, or if you haven't already, subscribe to us on YouTube or wherever you're listening to us, so that you get the latest and greatest from myself, Nate, and Derek. Go ahead and follow us on all our social medias, X, Instagram, and Facebook. You can follow myself on X at Jared_Tims. You can follow Nate at Nate Green 34. And as always, before we get this rolling, give us 1 second to pay those pesky bills. All right, Nate, I figured we'd just jump right into. I don't want to go over the Angels all that much, even though I do want to talk about the Angels. No, we are going to talk about the Angels. I don't want to talk about the 2025 Angels. I want to get the 2026 Angels up and rolling. However, the Angels did finish 72 and 90. I believe that I had the Angels winning 73 games, so I will rightfully take home the championship belt.
We don't
Um,
even know.
I had 73. I remember that from the beginning. So
Okay.
that's why I was excited about a hot start because I figured in the later months it might not be as fun, and that's kind of where we were. According to my notes, I also took home the prediction belt as well. I was 9-12. You were 9-13. You were a half game behind me, is what I had. I could totally be
Oof.
wrong, but that's what I had, and Derek was not even close. So, um, but yeah, rough last few months for the Angels. They start the season off playing better than we had expected. I don't want to dive too much into the 2025 season just with you. I want Derek here to mediate a little bit, not necessarily mediate, but talk everybody through it a little bit better than what Nate and I would. So we will definitely talk about the 2025 season in the coming podcasts and what we think the Angels should do here in this off season and things like that. But do you have any thoughts on the season, man? I know again it was a rough season, but can you take anything good away from this season? I have a couple bright spots I think you can take away, but nothing crazy, right?
Yeah, I mean, we can extend our streak of being one more year of not having 100 losses. That's huge. That's almost as good as making the playoffs. No, it's not, but I'm sure some people will try to tell you that it is. Zach Neto got better. It was good to see him just continue to prove that he is a guy. Like he is part of this future.
Elite. I'd put him under that elite
Sure,
category now.
sure.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of elite shortstops, I think, and
Mm.
he definitely can at least put his name in that category of like, hey, I'm one of the top 10, 15 shortstops in the game right now, which is good. Um,
Joe Adele.
Joe Adele
Yeah.
was going to be my next one
Mm.
of, hey, he played a full season, which was huge. His offense got better. Still strikes out a little too much for me. The average wasn't as good as you'd like, but again, positive strides in the right direction. He's continuing to get better each and every year that he's getting to play substantial time in the major league, so that's good.
This will
Um,
also, by the way, be the theme of my off season is I'm okay with Joe Adele. I'm not okay with nine Joe Adeles.
Okay.
But
Also, I think it was good to see that Joe Adele. You see that he's not a center fielder. I think that's another box to check off. Like huge to think about for 2026 and beyond. Is like, hey, at least we know that he's not the center fielder. He's a right fielder. So that was good. Um, Soriano, I guess, like some people would say, was a breakout. I think it was just kind of an normal up and down season, but sure, some people will say it was a breakout season for him. I don't think so. I think he still needs to take one more step. Like he kind of had like a Joe Adele season where it was, hey, there were good signs. He did some things well, but like he's not in the Zach Neto camp of like, hey, I proved that I'm elite type of guy. So sure,
we saw glimpses of him being Cy Young caliber, and we saw glimpses of him being somebody that we thought should go down to AAA.
yeah.
Fair to say.
So that's why it's like put him in the Joe Adele category of like, hey, he proved that he can play at this level. He got better, but like he's not a guy where it's like if for some reason the Angels trade him, we would lose our minds because it's like, well, he was just fine. Um, yeah, there's really not too much else. Taylor Ward had a good year, but I don't think Taylor Ward should be on this roster. Um,
I'll add.
Mike
I'll.
Trout played healthy baseball in
Yeah.
September. I think that's another big one for him. Just I think honestly he was banged up in late July all the way through August and started to get healthy towards the end of September. And it's like I think he just was like, you know what, I got to play through it. I got to figure out a way to do this. And so good to see that he didn't end the year with an injury and it's like, oh man, what's going to happen? It's like, no, we know exactly what the plan is with him, or we think we know what the plan is with him for next year. And I think that was good. So yeah, there weren't a lot of bright spots, but there were a couple.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll throw one more in there. And I know it wasn't a step up, but I mean, I thought Nolan Shawnoa was the same player he was, which I'm fine with. I know it's not beautiful by any means, but Nolan Shawnoa being Nolan Shawnoa. So I'll give that like a what's in between bright and a dim spot. Can we say call it a
Sure,
dim spot? Dim spot.
sure.
Cool. Let's go with that. I know you don't like Nolan Shawnoa, but
Well, it's
I'll
not
give
that
that.
I don't like him. It's that like to be starting that guy every day, he needs to be better. He just needs to be better.
Sure. So I'll throw one more out there. Bryce Teodosio. I'm so intrigued into the spectacular defense he plays. So I we probably would have gotten ripped up if we didn't talk about Bryce Teodosio. So let's get on to some Angels news here. Big news coming out of the Angels camp over the last couple of days. I would assume it was. I was assuming it was going to happen. But Ron Washington and Ray Montgomery will not return. Hearing along with a few others, I'm not going to say anything else other than that. But hearing along with a few others, with a new manager coming in means that there will probably be a lot more changes that happen, um, along with some other things depending on who the manager is. Uh, so yeah, we'll kind of wait and see there. That's kind of the big news. The Angels are managerless. There have been some names thrown out there: Albert Pujols, Torrey Hunter. Michael Young already said that he doesn't want to, but Michael Young's name did get thrown out there. Keith Johnson's another name that always gets thrown out there, the Salt Lake Bees manager. I'd love to see Keith get a shot just because it's Keith. But yeah, I'm rather intrigued as to what the Angels do, which brings us into my first question, and that is who do you think the Angels manager will be come 2026? Not who do you think, not who do you want, who do you think it will be?
Yeah. That is a different answer for me, but I think it's Albert Pujols. I think that he makes the most sense. Just from already loves to bring in a big name. It'll be a big name. Um, First time manager. A lot of things that the Angels like to do. Um, and I think he's part of like some glory days for the Angels, I guess. He did make the playoffs one time with the Angels and things like that. So I think Albert Pujols is going to be the next manager. Torrey Hunter is a really, really interesting name. I think that he makes a lot of sense, but I think that just there's too much with Albert. I think he's too beloved by some people up top. Not that Torrey's not beloved. I think Albert's just a little bit higher on their list.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I've been talking myself into it because I think I've been thinking this is the way the Angels were going to roll for quite some time now, probably over the last year. Because I like starting that conversation at the beginning. I started at the beginning of last season. I said, "Man, at what point do we think Ron is gone?" And here we are. And I've kind of been talking myself into, and kind of even more so been liking Albert Pujols more than anybody else for a couple different reasons. I think Albert Pujols is part of kind of that inner circle that Artie Moreno trusts, and I think that that is a huge step in the right direction because I don't think that the Angels have had a manager that has been that way yet. Like I don't, I think that Artie has trusted people, but I don't think that he's trusted managers like Albert Pujols would be trusted. Albert Pujols is still under contract by the Angels for a reason. He's an advisor for a reason, and and yeah, I think that that is a huge thing. With that being said, I also am huge into it because of the coaching staff that I think Albert would try to bring in. That would be including Yadier Molina. We were talking about it earlier. I don't know if Adam Wainwright would come out of retirement, go away from his kids. Chris Carpenter, I don't think we looked it up or not, but Chris Carpenter was in the org. I don't know if he still is in the org. Um, but you look at some of the players that ex players that Albert would bring in to come in and coach, and I think it would be a huge boost for a very young team. It would kind of remind me a little bit of like a World Baseball Classic type of thing, where you have those names, a Mark DeRosa coming in with like a LaTroy Hawkins and like a bunch of former ex players, Andy Pettit, um, you know Mike Piazza coaching Italy. Like I think that that is kind of the theme that this brings in, and I'm extremely excited for the coaching staff. I'm also extremely excited because of the first thing that I mentioned. I think that Artie trusts Albert and trusts his opinion, and I think that is something that the Angels haven't had. And I know I already said that, but the Angels just have not had that trusted voice. Whether it's Joe, whether it's a GM in particular. Like that. I think a GM for the Angels over the past 10 years has just been a trusted, like not a trusted name, but I think it's just been a name that Artie goes to and talks baseball. I don't think that Artie necessarily trusts him with the team, which is why that they've been bringing in these first year managers. So I think that those are all good things. The next order of business would be, I think that Albert would want Perry out as well.
That was going
And
to
I
be
know
my
you smart.
question. That
Yeah,
was going to be my question. Just because Albert was cut by Perry, would Perry and Albert really work? Would Albert really be like, you know what, I want to build the team with the guy who cut me?
I I was thinking about that after I heard Albert's name. I hadn't thought about it before because I was like, okay, if Perry's here, that is what it is.
Mhm.
It would be very, very interesting to see how that would work because okay, the last time the Angels had a manager that would be like Pujols, it would be Sosha. Like Sosha was very trusted by
Madden.
Artie in his inner circle. Like I think that like that was a very good relationship that was had for a long time until certain things happened. And I think Sosha wanted out anyways. I don't think Sosha wanted to be in Anaheim. He saw the downfall was coming and such like that. So and Sosha should go to the Hall of Fame. But yeah, I think that, and I know you just asked me this question because it was the second question, will Perry return? Um, it'll be very interesting to see what happens there because again, Pujols has has that connection with Artie, and that is a very, very, very good thing. And I think that it's more leaning towards the direction that you want because there's a chance of having a GM that Artie trusts come in because Perry wasn't somebody that he trusts. Billy, not somebody that he trusts. Artie was always looming over doing his thing. I think that Artie would hand the keys to the car to Albert and a GM that Albert came in and picked because of the fact that Albert is super trusted by Artie, like at the end of the day. So my next question would be, will Perry return? And I'm going to throw kind of a little asterisk next to that. I think that if Torrey Hunter or anybody else is the manager, I think that Perry returns. I think that if Albert comes in, I think Albert will want to um, run the show in a sense. And you mentioned this before in a dream world of mine, because you saw it and you actually brought it up a little bit before we were talking about this. I would love to see Tori come in as the GM. As that would be so like, I mean
Ar
that would be
Artie
the
would
most
lose his
Angels
mind
thing.
because they would have so much publicity
Yeah,
for that.
exactly. Like you like think about what Buster's doing in San Francisco, right? Like that's very similar to what the Angels are would do here. In a sense, you bring Tory back as the GM, you bring Albert in as your manager, you bring hopefully you're bringing a guy like Yadier Molina in. Hopefully you're bringing in somebody like you know Adam Wainwright to help with the pitching staff. Like and I didn't even bring in the fact that like Albert has unbelievably great connections and is extremely trusted with a lot of players down in the Dominican. I think that helps the international side of stuff because a lot of people would like to play for Albert. Young players too, wanting to learn from Albert and Yachty. I think again, getting Yachty in would help the Angels as well. So I can't help but get excited. However, the Angels are going to Angel. Does that make a lot of sense there? Like somehow this idea that I'm having is going to get completely screwed up. And I don't want to get too excited about this, but like the more and more I think about Albert being the manager, I think that it would be a change in what is going on only because Albert is extremely trusted by Artie Moreno.
No, no, no. You cannot get hope.
I'm
Because
not trying to give my
be,
I'm trying my
because
best not to give any hope. I'm really not
I
because like
I
I
ha,
can't I don't want to, man. I really don't. But like the way that I'm thinking about this again, Albert is just so trusted. He could don't make me do it. Don't
you
give
and
me
I
hope.
have had this conversation way too many times for you to tell me that I'm wrong, for you to
Well,
start getting hope.
so
Because
you're wrong
my
about bringing any and guys, I'm sorry, but side backstory here.
let me tell you.
Go ahead.
Yeah, because I've been saying for years that a new GM brings hope. There's a 1% chance that a new GM brings in new people and he ends up being the right person. There, we already know Perry's not the right person. It's 100% he's not going to win in Anaheim. That's what it looks like. But you bring in a new GM, there is a chance that that guy is the right person. And you can look at a lot of places throughout sports where, teams seem to be dead in the water and they somehow bring in the right GM and coach combo and all of a sudden they start winning. And that's all it takes is the 1%. I'm willing to take a chance on the 1% rather than the percentage that I know for sure is not going to happen, which we already know Perry's not the guy. So give me a 1% chance that Artie chooses the right GM, chooses the right manager, and the Angels start to win. That is what I've been saying to Jared. Jared tells me there's no chance that a GM would change things. There's no chance, and I agree with him that no chance that a manager would change things, but this would be a step in the right direction if they were to get rid of Perry at this time, because this would be the first time in Artie's history that they have gotten rid of a manager and a general manager in the same calendar year. And I think that is so, so important because uh, that brings community, that brings camaraderie, that brings like everyone together rather than this me versus him mentality. Like when Perry came in, Joe was already the manager. It was Perry was over here saying, "This is my way I'm doing things," and Joe was over here saying, like, "This is the way I do things." Like I've won, more games than you can count. I know what I'm doing, and Perry's saying, "Well, we're going to do things this way." Perry ends up winning out on that and firing Joe. Comes in, and it has happened every single time. So this would be the very first time that a new GM and new manager came in at the same time. Obviously, as of right now, we don't know if that's going to happen because Perry is still the general manager as of October 1st.
And I still give it a 0.01% chance of happening. I just think a lot needs
But
to change.
statistically, there's a possibility. That's all that I'm saying. I'm not saying that's a 98% chance that they're going to be good. I'm just saying statistically, there's a
I,
probability of it working.
Yes, there is. However, it's not like anything. It's not like anything is changing because Albert is going from Artie's main man, one of somebody that he trusts, to being on the field now. Like it still is Artie's show, right? It still is Artie's team. Artie still gets the final decision and stuff. I just think that what Albert can bring to the table, it's something that as a whole, this organization hasn't had. And I could totally be wrong. Albert might not be a very good manager. I think that he could be a very good manager, and I think that he can. Again, I think he's respected. I think he knows baseball very well, and I think again he's able to communicate with Artie better than most people have communicated with Artie Moreno. And I think that's why there's been so much dysfunction in this organization, is because you're trying to run a business and bad business decisions have been made. Um, and that is baseball decisions, right? Like baseball is a business at this point. So bad baseball, bad business. It's all been bad. So again, Albert's been in Albert. It's not like something has changed. He's been in that inner circle, somebody that already trusts for a long time now. Now that he's on the field, I mean, could it make a difference? I don't know. But why hasn't Albert spoke out about it before, right? Like, why
He
hasn't
has
Albert
no
said like,
skin in
hey,
the
do you
game.
what?
He has no skin in the game. Just because
Yeah.
he's an advisor doesn't mean that it matters. But like his like
I'm just throwing the hype. Like, I'm just throwing
but
like,
but I'm telling
I'm
you, like
giving both sides now.
that's why, right?
Yeah.
Like he has skin in the game
Mhm.
now as a manager with the Angels. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
if I'm the advisor and I tell Artie to do something and Artie doesn't listen, or if I don't really like the way Artie does things, but I don't really want to bring it up, it's like, what?
Yeah.
Who cares? Like I'm not the manager. I'm not the one going out there every single day having to worry about that stuff. But as the manager, it's like, hey, Artie, we need to fix this because I have to deal with this every day. Or we need to fix this because I don't want to have to deal with this.
Yeah.
All those things. So I do think that him being on the field rather than, you know, at his house making phone calls to Artie would definitely make things a little bit better for the Angels just because he's going to have a little bit of skin in the game. I don't think his legacy will get changed one way or another. It's not one of those things where it's like, hey, he was a good player and now he's a really bad manager and people don't look at him the same way. I think that he'll be looked at as one of the best players of his generation no matter what, but um it, I think every competitive person, when you put them in an environment where they are having to compete, they're going to figure out ways to win. And right now, he doesn't really have that competition. Like, yeah, he if the Angels win, like that's great for him, but it's not him being the reason why he's not managing the games. He's not in uniform doing things. So it's not the end of the world for him. I think you put him out there though, like it changes a lot for him and his perspective on things.
Yeah, yeah. So, if you're watching us here on YouTube, give us your thoughts in the comments down below. Really would love to know everybody's thoughts on it. The Albert Pujols, Torrey Hunter, are those wrong decisions? Should they go a different direction? I mean, it'll be an interesting couple of days and weeks, and we'll be here to discuss it. With that being said, last question for you, easy question: Who wins World Series?
Before the year I picked the Phillies, I'm going to stay with the Phillies. The Phillies won the World Series.
I have the Phillies winning as well. So there's no like I think that I know
Before
you
the
don't want
year,
that.
who'd you have though?
Um, Toronto, I think. So I mean, I still have Toronto in it, but like looking at it now, I don't. I mean, the
I'm going to go
Mariners.
back and listen to the show, see who you had winning it.
I think I had Toronto. I
I
think I
don't
had
think you had
Toronto in it.
Toronto making the playoffs. I think you had,
Maybe I had Texas. Maybe I had the Rangers or something like that. I don't remember. Thought I had Texas getting back into it. I'd have to go and
I
look and
think you had
see.
Atlanta.
I might have had Atlanta. I definitely might
I
have,
think you had Atlanta.
which is a shame because Atlanta's better than what's going on there. So I mean, the Mariners might. I don't want to talk about the Mariners as an Angels podcast, but the Mariners pitching staff, that's pretty.
It's very overrated. Yeah. Yeah.
That's oh my God, hot dog, get your guy. So with all that being said,
25th in Major League Baseball on the road. And I mean, that's what it is.
I'm too tired for this, man. I am way too tired. So, with all that being said, I mean, you got any final thoughts? Jose Suarez coming back?
No,
Will we ever?
no,
I don't think we're ever gonna stop talking about Jose Suarez, who pitched well for the Atlanta Braves down the stretch, by the way.
he made one good start. Congrats. Even a
Pitched
blind
well down
squirrel
the
finds a
stretch.
nut every once in a while. Scott Kingery did elect free agency today, so there is that, and we'll see. There's some interesting guys that have already elected free agency. Jared Kelnick is one of them as well. So just something to keep an eye on. They get to be free agents a little bit earlier than everyone else, so never know.
Yeah, I will. We'll break down free agency when the time comes. I'm not even thinking about it right now. I'm watching
But those
playoff
guys are free
baseball.
agents in 3 days, so
Could be.
because they're minor league free agents. So,
Oh yeah, you can start signing those guys here pretty soon. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Angels need that type of depth. The Angels do. So, with all that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching and listening here at Talking Halos. Go ahead and follow us on all our social medias, X, Instagram, Facebook. You can follow myself on X, Jared_Tim's Nate at NateGreen34. Guys, thank you so much for watching and listening. Have a great rest of your day.